Biden to Madonna, ageism is everywhere. Margaret Sullivan. Growing older is not enjoyable in our youth-obsessed culture. 2 words of advice for those who would belittle their elders: simply wait. President Biden stated something that I could relate to just before he turned 80 in November. He didn't even want to declare his age out loud. I have felt that way ever since turning 40, which was, let's say, not very recently. The media in America acts as a fervent, continual choir for the nation's youth. As the phrase goes, getting older here is not only not for sissies, but it may also be quite detrimental. That obsessive preoccupation had to have had something to do with Madonna's plastic surgery during the Grammy Awards. The artist, who has long been acclaimed for always reinventing herself, had done it again, but this time she had essentially changed who she was. Her face, which was 64 years old, was strangely smooth and had a contour that was completely unlike the material girl of old. She was called ugly and even a monster as the slurs poured. In keeping with her usual style, Madonna responded by denouncing the ageism and misogyny of a society that refuses to honor women above the age of 45 and feels the need to penalize her if she continues to be strong-willed, hard-working, and adventurous. It's not just her. Paulina Porizkova, a model who is 57 years old and incredibly stunning, recently summed up a snide public response to some of her near-nude images by saying, "Put on your clothes, Grandma. You are pitiful." At least American guys have a few more years of usefulness. At the age of 59, the late actor Sean Connery was crowned sexiest man alive by People magazine. Despite the fact that several band members are in their 60s, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were honored on a recent episode of CBS's 60 Minutes. However, Biden is constantly being reminded that even guys have limitations. Based on a factual inaccuracy in Biden's description of his loan forgiveness policy, the conservative Washington Post columnist George Will, 81 years old himself, recently said that the president must either be senile or a compulsive liar. The MAGA Republican mob would have you believe that Biden is completely dependent on his managers and cannot move even his lips. Even after the president's highly praised State of the Union address, there were increasing calls for him to stand down in 2024. For instance, even though she praised Biden as a superb president, my Duke University colleague Frank Bruni stated in his New York Times newsletter that he reluctantly agreed with the Times columnist Michelle Goldberg's request that Biden not seek for re-election. Bruni added, "Biden very likely saved us from bankruptcy and protecting us from a second term of Trump. So, I guess we're done with him now? That is extremely cold. It's nearly cruel." He argues that Biden should step down despite that, though. Obviously, I disagree. Of course, I wish Biden were 20 years younger and that he didn't occasionally make puzzling blunders and fumble over his words. His physical deterioration and declining mental capacity worry me. However, he currently appears to be the strongest option to prevent a likely disastrous Republican presidency, and his record is outstanding despite certain flaws. Beyond famous people and elected authorities, ageism exists everywhere. Ageism is the last acceptable bias, according to the advocacy group AARP, noting that 35% of Americans are now 50 or older. According to the organization, 3 out of 4 Americans over 45 perceive ageism as a barrier to finding a job, and half of older workers claim they have been forcibly removed from long-term positions. The only option is to respond violently. Knowing that the law is frequently on their side is comforting for workers. Madonna makes the choice to not give a damn. For Biden and the Democratic leadership, the question is whether he can carry out his duties and whether he is the best candidate to defeat a Republican opponent. Notably, Donald Trump, who will turn 77 soon, may very well be that person. I like to remember that The Handmaid's Tale author Margaret 83, is still producing brilliant writing, that Pablo Picasso experienced a celebrated creative burst before passing away at 91, and that one of my favorite musicians, 73-year-old Bonnie Raitt, not only gave a soulful performance at the Grammy Awards but also took home the prize for Song of the Year. Growing older is not enjoyable in America's youth-obsessed culture, but it need not be an excuse to vanish. 2 words of wisdom for those who would make fun of their elders: wait. We need your help with a tiny favor as you are joining us from Indonesia today. Since The Guardian began publishing 200 years ago, tens of millions of people have put their faith in our fearless reporting, turning to us in times of difficulty, uncertainty, camaraderie, and hope. We are now financially supported by more than 1.5 million donors from 180 different nations, keeping us open to everyone and adamantly independent. Will you help us too and change the world? The Guardian does not have shareholders or a billionaire owner, unlike many other publications. Just the will and enthusiasm to produce high-impact global reporting that is never influenced by business or politics. Such reporting is essential to democracy, fairness, and the ability to hold the powerful accountable for their actions. And we offer all of this for free, so anyone can read it. We act in this manner because we support information equality. More people will be able to follow the developments that are changing the globe, comprehend how these events affect individuals and communities, and be motivated to take meaningful action. Regardless of their ability to pay for it, millions can profit from free access to high-quality, accurate news. No matter how much or how little you donate, your support will keep our reporting going for years to come. That's today's latest news. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment so that this channel can continue to exist. Thank you for listening to the end, and I hope it's useful.